sometimes you wonder would be some way to introduce some private sector competition, like what happens with schools in Florida where people have a budget that goes with it. Who knows?
I said, what kind of options do you have? What do you think about a system that allowed you to go to different to private as well as VA hospitals? The response was mixed, but I don't have any proposal of that nature.
Look, I was an independent during the time of Reagan-Bush. I'm not trying to return to Reagan-Bush.
The right way for America to proceed when we face the kind of challenges we face is to pursue the strategy which Ronald Reagan pursued when we faced the challenges of the last century.
I believe that since Roe v. Wade has been the law for 20 years, that we should sustain and support it. And I sustain and support that law and the right of a woman to make that choice.
And that's why, as a pro-life Republican, I'm in favor of having the Supreme Court overturn Roe v. Wade. So when asked, will I preserve and protect a woman's right to choose, I make an unequivocal answer: yes.
People have had a chance to look at my record. And look what I've said as I've been through that last campaign. I believe people understand that I'm firmly pro-life.
I think Americans just don't know sometimes which Mitt Romney they're dealing with. Is it the Mitt Romney that was on the side of against the Second Amendment before he was for the Second Amendment? Was before he was before these social programs from the standpoint of he was for standing up for Roe versus Wade before he was against Roe versus Wade? He was for race to the top. He's for Obamacare, and now he's against it. I mean, we'll wait until tomorrow and see which Mitt Romney we're really talking to tonight.
Governor Romney?
At least for now, an extension of the payroll tax cut.
I'm all in favor of keeping taxes down and keeping burdens down on American businesses and employers. I want employers and entrepreneurs to have every incentive to open businesses and to start creating jobs.
Okay.
So you would be okay with seeing the payroll tax cut?
Look, I don't like temporary little Band-Aids. My own view is, consistent with what you saw in the Lowell Sun, that those people who have come here illegally and are in this country, the 12 million or so that are here illegally, should be able to sign up for permanent residency or citizenship.
Saying that we're going to say to the people who've come here illegally that now you're all going to get to stay, or some large number are going to get to stay and become permanent residents of the United States. That will only encourage more people to do the same thing. People respond to incentives. And if you can become a permanent resident of the United States by coming here illegally, you'll do so. And at the time, by the way, I crafted the plan, in the last campaign, I was asked, is this something that you would have the whole nation do? And I said, no. This is something that was crafted for Massachusetts. It would be wrong to adopt this as a nation.
Was able to put in place a plan that helped get health insurance premiums down and gets all of our citizens insured. If we can do that nationally, we help not only Michigan and the auto industry, but the entire nation.
He didn't create the recession, but he made it worse and longer.
How can we continue to say that things are worse when they really aren't worse?
I didn't say that things are worse. I'm not willing to sit back and say too bad for Michigan, too bad for the car industry, too bad for the people who've lost their jobs, they're gone forever.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. The headline you read, which is said, let Detroit go bankrupt.
These kinds of associations between money and politics, in my view, are wrong. And for that reason, I would like to have campaign spending limits. And to say we're not going to spend more than this in certain campaigns, in a campaign for senator or a U.S. representative and so forth, because otherwise I think you have money playing far too important a role. I also would abolish PACs. You probably have one. I don't like them.
We've just learned in the last couple of hours, in fact, Restore Our Future, which is the Romney Super PAC, held back its filing with the FEC, which was required by midnight tonight, until after Romney had given his victory speech.
I don't like the influence of money, whether it's business, labor, or any other group. I do not like that kind of influence. I'll tell you what. 10,000 bucks? $10,000 bet?
I believe, based on what I read, that the world is getting warmer. And number two, I believe that humans contribute to that. And so I think it's important for us to reduce our emissions of pollutants and greenhouse gases that may well be significant contributors to the climate change and the global warming that you're seeing.
My view is that we don't know what's causing climate change on this planet, and the idea of spending trillions and trillions of dollars to try and reduce CO2 emissions is not the right course for us.
I also think we've learned that our troops shouldn't go off and try and fight a war of independence for another nation.
Only the Afghanis can win Afghanistan's independence from the Taliban.
We witnessed a weakening of our military and a decline of our standing in the world. President Obama's troop withdrawals in Iraq and Afghanistan were quite apparently based upon electoral expediency, not military requirement.
It's time for us to bring our troops home as soon as we possibly can, consistent with the word that comes from our generals.
Do you believe that there should be a timetable in withdrawing the troops?
Well, there's no question but that the President and Prime Minister al-Maliki have to have a series of timetables and milestones that they speak about, but those shouldn't be for public pronouncement.
I do not support and have never supported a timed withdrawal. I've never talked about a timed withdrawal with a date certain for us to leave. That's not the case. Simply wrong. We may make mistakes as a nation from time to time and step on others' toes, and we'll say we're sorry for that, but apologizing for America is something I will never, ever do. And we'll say we're sorry for that.
Would you also support, when it comes down to it, an extension of the payroll tax cut?
I don't want to raise taxes on people in the middle of a recession.
So
of course
you're for
not.
it?
I think people understand that I'm a man of steadiness and constancy.